With YouTube attacking alternative media, please consider supporting the channel via Patreon for just $1 per month. Link below. Hey, what's going on, everyone? My name is Matt Jarbo. This is 3 Buck Theater, and the Oscars were last night. And I don't know about you, but I didn't watch. I don't care. My argument for this every year boils simply down to South Park losing in 2000. And my argument for such is simply because they lost to Phil Collins. We don't know the song Phil Collins lost for off the top of our heads, but if I were to ask you to sing the chorus to blame Canada, you'd be able to do it in a heartbeat. It shows you the cultural significance of the song and the fact that even after 18 years, it is still pretty damn awesome. So suck it, Phil Collins. You ruined the Oscars for me. Of course, I'm being a little bit on the facetious side. I still just am very much tired of the politics that go into the award season in Hollywood, especially after 2017. It's been a hell of a year, a hell of a thing, and I think people are just generally tired of it. And as evidenced by this particular title here, that the Oscar ratings are down double digits as viewership hits all-time low with 26.5 million people, right? You got to kind of love that for a hot second. It's all like, the viewership is down to only 26.5 million people. And that's not enough to cause the Oscars to go away for good or to change things up, but it's definitely going to make them reconsider, I think, how things are done. And I think a lot of this has to do with because the movies that are doing well in award seasons are not movies that people, like i.e. the general audiences, are rushing out to go see. If Avengers was up, let's say, for Best Picture or something next year, you can bet your ass a lot of people would be watching because they'd want to see if Avengers won. That's just the truth of it. People would love to watch the high contenders of the year, the movies that they went to go see, get nominated, not movies they don't see and ultimately don't care about, getting a lot of glad handing from the back, or on the back from Hollywood. Now, it says here that it was an Oscar do-over last night for host Jimmy Kimmel, producers Mike DeLuca, Jennifer Todd, and Best Picture presenters Warren Beatty and Faye Dunaway, following last year's Envelope Gate, which led to Beatty and Dunaway inadvertently announcing a wrong Best Picture winner. The quartet's second go-around went without a hitch. Now, last year's Envelope Gate was hysterical. It was. Everyone talking about it the next day, wondering if in 2018 it was going to be repeated, and they made damn double sure it simply wasn't. But even though the idea that it could have happened again was ever present throughout the course of the evening, the audience still didn't really care because, again, who saw Moonlight? I know a lot of film goers, and like none of them went out of their way to see Moonlight. Same with La La Land. They just don't care about these type of movies. And as evidenced by the fact that the box office is down to the lowest it's been in 17 years as of 2017, it shows you that these movies are not hitting the cultural chord that that the awards are kind of presenting them as being that. Now, it says that the good news did not carry over to the ratings of the 90th Academy Awards, which crowned The Shape of Water as Best Picture. Last night's ceremony, which aired live from 8 p.m. to 11:54 p.m., averaged 26.5 million viewers, live plus same day. That was down 19% from last year's 32.9 million viewers, a 9-year low. That despite the fact The Shape of Water is the highest grossing Best Picture winner in 5 years. It's a good movie. It's a good movie. But, you know, like I said, even though that one's a high grossing one, a lot of the other ones really aren't. Not as high as you'd like them to be, at least. Not as high as what you'd expect from something like Star Wars. Like, honestly, the Academy needs to nominate, like, Solo for Best Picture. That would get you some viewers. I'm just saying, you play the game, right? It may not have a chance of winning. It may not have a chance of succeeding. But play the damn game. The Oscar ratings doom and gloom was foreshadowed by the first numbers that come in this morning. The ceremony drew a paltry 18.9 live plus same-day rating in the metered market households, an all-time low, and down 16% from last year's 22.4 rating, which was a 9-year low. The metered market total, which did not include ratings for the Boston TV market due to severe weather conditions there, was well below the previous Oscars low ratings point, logged with the 2008 telecast hosted by Jon Stewart when No Country for Old Men won Best Picture. Yeah, it's down. I think this is just a long way of saying that it's down. The drop is big. The Oscars had never fallen before 32 million viewers in 21 metered markets household rating before, forcing pundits to scratch their heads. One explanation, the Oscars rubber-stamped winners who had already swept the award shows that preceded it, making for one of the most predictable Academy Award ceremony in years. Some pointed to the length of the show, which again flirted with the 4-hour mark. Others to the ubiquitous montages, the overall modest box office performance of the movies nominated for Best Picture, and the injection of politics/social issues into the speeches. However, most if not all of these factors were also present in the last couple of years when the numbers were higher, and the Oscars' strongest competition, AMC's The Walking Dead, was actually more potent ratings performer than years past. The best at Hollywood's Big Night is done for the first round of ratings over the past decade was back in 2005 when the show was hosted by Chris Rock and got a 30.1 meter market household, and Clint Eastwood's $1 Million Baby won Best Picture. And then, of course, it just goes on from there to talk about the numbers. So let's talk about why this happened. Why were the Oscars down? Well, there's a couple reasons. For one, we're seeing the fact that it wasn't streamed on Hulu or Netflix or YouTube. It wasn't put out there in that particular fashion. We are now seeing 10 million households a year cut the cord, so they don't have access to traditional cable. Now, if they were to have, let's say, a high definition antenna on their TV, they could tune into ABC and watch it live there, but then again, a lot of people never really think about that when they cut the cord. They just stick to the streaming services that they have. So that could be a big drop. Additionally, the oversaturation on social media over the winners, especially on Facebook and Twitter, basically, if anyone's just wanted to keep tabs on what's going on, all they have to do is just go there and look. That's how I kept tabs on it last night. I simply didn't care otherwise. I wanted Roger Deakins to win for Best Cinematographer. He did. I'm happy. I wanted Logan to win for Best Adapted Screenplay, but it went to the James Ivory's Call Me By Your Name or whatever the hell that movie was that, again, no one really went out to go see, and Logan was obvious. I'm so mad that Logan didn't get it. I'm glad it was nominated. Kind of pissed off it didn't get it. But then again, let's again talk about the politics part of it. The award season for this last year has been so bad in certain areas involving politics, people have tuned the hell out. And a lot of this has to do with the Me Too and Time's Up movement. It does. The Golden Globes, the Emmys, the Oscars, the Spirit Awards. I mean, you name it, any award show that this year, that was going to be a thing. And people have, I think, generally moved on. I think at this point, more people are now waiting for the shoe to drop the next day on who's going to be accused, more so than the excitement of watching celebrities fillet each other on national television, essentially. And we kind of saw a little bit of that today, where Gary Oldman and Kobe Bryant were both under fire this morning for their respective wins. Gary Oldman winning for Best Actor for The Darkest Hour. All of a sudden, what do you know? Today, tons of articles, tons of hit pieces about allegations of domestic violence from his ex-wife and comments he made about Mel Gibson back in 2006 when Gibson went on his anti-Semitic rant in Malibu. Kobe Bryant with some of the accusations levied at him. Of course, you know, this is what it brings. It brings that kind of reaction, that kind of assault on that particular industry. And I think the general public, for the most part, is done with it. If I'm being perfectly bluntly honest, there are people out there, more and more people you talk to about it, and they're just like, yeah, I'm kind of over it. I don't, you know, there's more going on in the world. It sucks, but it's kind of like, you know, the intensity in scandal after scandal after scandal has, I think, really ruined it. Because, you know, there was a lot of push even during the red carpet of the Oscars yesterday. A lot of articles coming out, a lot of think pieces, op-eds, hit pieces about Ryan Seacrest, who has been accused of misconduct and who has been investigated by E and found that there is nothing there, and they're still going after him for it. The fact that Hollywood, which used to bank the Oscars on marketing dollars, who could market the movie better, has now come down to who can be the most oppressed and who can play the victim bucks card more than anything else. And that, I do believe, is a sad but true view of the Oscars. I love movies. Obviously, I love talking about them. I love the creative process of them. I do feel that anyone who is a victimizer or an abuser or an assaulter in the industry does need to be absolutely thrown out. But that does require them to go to the authorities, and that's the way I look at it. But what we're seeing now is probably the tail end of the Time's Up and Me Too hysteria, I would argue, because people just aren't paying attention anymore. We know that there's a legal defense fund for Time's Up that's gotten a lot of money that's going to be used to file civil suits, where the preponderance of evidence against those accused is far lesser than would be required in a legal matter. So that's going to be interesting to watch play out this year. But when that stuff is front and center for months and months and months and months and months, people generally tend to stop caring. I'm sorry, it's true. There's nothing new about it. The Oscars being down as much as they were, I believe, have a lot to do with the cord cutters, as I mentioned before, and I think it also has a lot to do with the way that people, the general audiences, view these movies. The Academy opening it up as much as they did last year to the new members, I thought was a good idea. We were going to see a wider variety of pictures being nominated and people being nominated. But that being said, there was a big push to get Jordan Peele Best Director for Get Out. Get Out was a great movie, but not Best Picture worthy. I don't even know if I'd argue Best Original Screenplay worthy. It was good, but it also was just a simple take on the Stepford Wives. It wasn't necessarily original. It was maybe a semi-original take on an already used premise multiple times over the course of, movies. So, giving it to him on that one, I don't want to discredit from his win, but, the push for him to get there felt more like it was a push, not one that was merited by the type of content, but more who Peele is. And that is unfortunate for Peele, because that, I feel, goes against his creativity as being a director and as a writer, because he's good. He's good. He will have a very illustrious career ahead of him, and I only wish him the best, but I do wish that people would stop trying to use who he is and what he is versus his talent and his ability. And that, again, is kind of where we are right now. So, yeah, the Oscars are down. There's, again, a multitude of reasons. It's going to continue dropping. Hollywood and the Hollywood elite have run their mouths for years on politics, and it doesn't necessarily reflect everyone in the country, and that's part of the polarizing problem. I'm definitely more in line with them politically than not, but even I can see that things have gone far too far, and they need a reboot. Quite frankly, Jimmy Kimmel is not it. Stephen Colbert probably would have been a better host. Bring back Jon Stewart. Hell, bring back Billy Crystal. It would have been a better host than Kimmel. Bring back Seth MacFarlane. He was edgy and made it fun. But then again, all the attacks that happened after that too, because we live in a society now of faux outrage over every single thing. And that is very, very, very present in Hollywood, very, very, very present in the Oscars and the Academy Awards. And people have just ultimately stopped caring. But I want to know what you guys think about this. Let me know in the comments below. My name is, of course, Matt Jarbo. This has been $3 Theater. Just as a heads up, on the 10th, so in 5 days from now, I will be giving away a copy of the Justice League on Blu-ray on the channel. Be sure to check the community tab. You just have to be subscribed and comment below. And if you guys haven't already, please thumbs up the video, subscribe to the channel, share it around, and check back later on for more movie news from me. I'll talk to you guys later. Have yourself a great day. And if you just want to watch more content, you can do so right now.